I cannot express how excited I am for this one. Look at that. Oh, how cool is this, you guys? I'm so excited to break into this. I literally had butterflies on the way home. That's how much of a machine nerd I am. The moment is finally here. Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the Tractor Fella Show, where we know nothing about tractors. I contacted a guy on Facebook after he put this listing up for free, and he said, I wanted it to go to someone like you and not just the scrapyard. Nothing like a nap in the sun on a winter day. Starting with the basics here. Little archaeological expedition going on, getting all this grime off of here. It would help if it was more than 8 degrees outside Fahrenheit. Got a little bit of cleaning done yesterday. It's a beautiful day today, about 30 degrees and sunny, so I figure we'll take advantage of that. Running out of air. Now that we have a little bit of a cleaner surface, let's do a quick look here. So the engine itself is made by the Clinton Machine Company. So I learned that in 1958, Clinton Machine Company changed their name from Clinton Machine Company to the Clinton Engine Company. So that tells you right there, this engine and mower are most likely 1958 or before. 2-cycle, precision built. Clinton Machine Company. That is so cool. I love the little gas tank on top. It's like a little whiskey barrel that one of those Bernese mountain dogs would carry. I have been searching high and low to try to figure out who made the mower itself. The only thing I can find is what's called the Sensation mower. Woohoo! Because it is sensational. Let's keep on keeping on. The throttle actually moves. Looks like some of these models you could actually get a cable that would go in that throttle. The engine is not stuck. However, I'm not going to move it much until I throw some lube at it. Looks like we got a little bit of a rough repair here. Maybe we can do some grinding, get out the welder, and try to fix it ourselves. Looks like we got a miniature type of clamp here. I'm not sure what purpose that's serving. Handlebars are in nice shape. They still have the grips on them. Handlebar is not broken. Got our nice little ripcord here. We do have a couple of what appear to be patches. I don't know if I don't think that's factory. Got a big one over here on the side. And it looks like this might have been where the tag went for the manufacturer. I've noticed there's no kill switch on this whole thing, but I believe there's supposed to be something here, probably that grounds out either the tip of the spark plug. I've also seen different engines that have a slide where you actually slide it over and it grounds out the spark plug too. So I don't know, we'll just have to make do. I mean, it's not like this is a full-on loop, so we could just essentially pull this off to shut it down. Let's dig in. I'd like to get our handlebars out of the way first, just so I can have a little more freedom moving around. I've pretty much hosed down anything with threads with PB Blaster. We'll see how this goes, or doesn't go. Nope. There we go. You guys ever see the wax trick? Oh, our flavor of the day. Hazelnut latte. Fantastic. Essentially the goal here is to melt the wax onto the threads so that it sort of sucks it in. And the other thing it does is it cools the bolt, allowing the nut to stay hot. And that should allow the two to sort of separate. And at the same time, you get a lovely scent in your garage if you choose to buy whatever wax you can find on the shelf. Because that's what I did. Let's see if it actually worked. Oh, there we go. Pretty slick. And I'm sure you all noticed, but you can either use the handlebars in this direction, or if you prefer to get blasted by sticks, rocks, and grass shards, then you can use the handlebars in the other direction. Now, that little guy, let's just take that little guy off of there. Watch, I'll remove this and the whole thing will just implode. So ultimately, I'd like to take these covers off, clear out any nests that we have, but before we do that, I'd like to get the plug out, start soaking the engine with oil. Pretty cool. Look at that old guy. Coralox 45-M. AC. Can't imagine that's AC Delco. Got a nice tan color on the inside. Looks like it was burning pretty well. Turn up the pump. And off we go. The piston's right at top dead center, or just close to top dead center. I'm going to loosely put the plug back in so we keep the debris out. I'm going to tip it up so that we actually get that blaster around the entire piston, not just a part of it. While that blaster's in the cylinder, let's see what's in the gas tank. Absolutely nothing. Looks like a little filter. We'll see how much flow comes through there, if any. But I cannot believe how clean that tank is. It's my first time actually getting a good look at the blade. I mean, it's old. I really hope this wasn't put away because it hit something and bent the crank. That would break my heart. Is that even oriented correctly? No, it's not. That blade's rotated off by 90 degrees. Well, that's a little scary. There's our big giant patch. Look at that. Someone broke, holy cow, huge chunk out of this. Man, how does that even happen? Vibration, fatigue? I don't know. Curious about this piece too. I mean, it's painted, which makes me think maybe it's from the factory, but why? I don't know. Why have it there? Looks like it has threaded screws. Are there nuts on the back? No? Well, they're kind of like self-tappers, aren't they? Oh, check out the square nuts. Also, look at that exhaust outlet. Yeah, a little loud, a little bit of a fire hazard, but it's better than just shooting it out the side with no muffler on it. These are official grass scrapers, by the way. I'd like to address our blade situation before we try to fire this up and lose the phalange. You also want to have the longest extension possible so that you lose all the torque from your impact. It's a bit mushroomed. Yeah, so this was like this. It should be like this. So that was a bit sketchy. The blade doesn't initially look bent. It kind of looks bent from the factory on both ends, but it's hard to say. So I'll check the balance on it later with my backwoods balancing techniques. Nice. That came off real easy. I was hoping it would, so I could get this ridiculous pile of, well, it's probably baling twine, since I believe it came off a farm. Oh man, did that get up in the crank seal? Hopefully this has been vertical long enough that that PB is run past the piston and down into the crankcase. You can get a little spinach out of it. Oh wow. That freed up real nice. Isn't that nice? A little ray of sunshine beaming down on our special find. I'd like to explore the fuel system next. Remember, always chalk your wheels. You guys see okay? See what's behind door number 1. These steel mesh filters are kind of cool. I don't know how efficient they are. Probably not efficient at all. Thank you, magnetic screwdriver. Cool. It's like steel wool. Oh, that's neat. And it's clean. Look at the inside. See how clean it is on the inside? Gives you an idea of how well it works. Compared to the outside, that's probably asbestos. Kidding, Mom. Don't worry. So you can see the screen back here is like a secondary. There's definitely quite a bit of leaf debris on there. There we go. So there's the other part of the intake assembly. Not sure what kind of, I don't know, it almost looks like glue. Now is a good time to take some of our PB and put it right down the throat. Should go right to the crankcase. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, did you see it pull it in? Perfect. Choke, it has a choke hanging out on the side here. Look at that. Pretty cool. Let's take this cover off and the fuel tank with it. Oh boy, that is pretty solid. I have a feeling we're gonna have to take this fuel line and replace it. Come on. Yeah. Holy moly. All right. That was rough. Then we have these little guys up here. All right, we are ready. Let's see what we have. Hopefully nothing. Oh, okay. Well, looks like a lawnmower. Yep, she's a bit dirty. Guess we're just gonna take it step by step, day by day. I actually never watched that show. Sorry to disappoint. Oh my gosh, that is... Can you see that? Let me see what you're looking at here. Okay, so check this out. Here's our governor fan, right? The linkage moves all the way up here to this little guy. You probably saw that on the backside when I was just focused on the front, but yeah, if this thing's caked, how are you gonna control speed? You ain't. Might as well keep going. And they are righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Lock washer, regular washer, ripcord, screen. Oh, jeez. Did you see that? I barely had to touch it. Got a regular old points set up on here. So full disclosure, this will be my first ever time checking out a points and condenser system. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going on here. Okay, I've made an executive decision. Taking the engine off. I don't know, because I want to. Interesting fact, everything is metric. There she is. Looks like we might have had some contact here, and that's what I was feeling when I was spinning it over. The sticky spot. Let's get our hydrocarbon distribution center out of there. 11 it is. There's probably a couple of you out there asking why I'm not just throwing fuel at this and trying to fire it up. Well, in all honesty, I am curious. You know, this engine was made potentially 1957, 56, maybe even earlier, and I just kind of want to see how it ticks. Got to pull it out and then loosen our nuts some more. Sort of inconvenient, but is, as they say, what it is. Now that's off. Should be able to just push down on that linkage a little bit, I would think. There we go. Oh, cool. feeds right down into there. Nice. Check that out, you guys. Woo. That's how to keep your work surface clean 101. Got a clean towel for those of you that are concerned. And we're going to stuff that down the intake. Let's check these fins out. Love the pop. How cool. Check that out. Got some food pellets in there. What, you might feed a horse or some type of grain anyway. Yes. Love to throw this whole thing in the ultrasonic cleaner, but probably wouldn't end very well. This thing's pretty sticky. That is a little guy. Let's see how far we can launch that spring. Appears to be a sleeve on there. Oh. Looks like we have a casting number on here. Upside down, 2015C. Oh, that's cool. I sound like a nerd, but it's kind of like a little number of history there. Welcome back, folks. It is a new day. As Burgess Meredith would say from Grumpy Old Men, it is butt cold out there, and I am fresh out of beer. I'm gonna lose my key here. So what do you think we do next? You want to check for spark, or you want to just rip into the points? That's on there enough, I think. How's our crank end play? Not the worst. That's cool, by the way. Old copper crush washer. But you know what we got to do before we check for spark? So the gentleman that I bought this from, we'll call him Dave. So Dave's a pretty cool guy. Just met him the other day when I picked this up from him, and he gave me a call and told me he'd picked it up and that I seemed like a good owner, because I wasn't, for one thing, I wasn't going to take it to the scrapyard. It's sitting on a trailer in a big pile of snow. So we dig it out of the snow and carry it over to the car, and my car is the little hatchback that I've told you about in the past. And I couldn't get the handlebars off, so we had to do some serious finagling to get it to fit. I'm pretty sure I've used this same piece of sandpaper every single video I've cleaned a spark plug in. I think you call that resourceful, right? Or just plain cheap, one or the other. Anyway, he tells me that the farmhouse down the road from his place, the people that lived there moved out. He was talking with the new people, and they said, well, I got a couple things you can scrap if you want. And he goes over there, and sitting in the back of the barn, quite literally in the back of a barn, was this old sweetheart just hanging out. Who knows how long it'd been sitting there. But Dave, he says, I told the guy I can't scrap this, but I will definitely take it off your hands. Let's double check here. I haven't gapped a plug in years. Spark plug gap, 30 thousandths. 30 thousandths. A little tight. So Dave picks up this mower, and it just kind of hangs out at his house for a while, and one day he decided it was time to let it go to a different home. There we go. So Dave, if you're ever watching, thank you very much, my friend. Got a lot of people, not a lot of people, got a few people that are pretty excited to see this. Myself is included in that list. Does that piston look healthy to you? You see what I'm seeing right there? Does that look like a hole in the piston? I think that's by design. I mean, it is kind of right dead center where the piston would be. I don't know. You know what? Let's check for spark first. I have a scope. Maybe we'll scope out the piston really quick. It's funny, the propane smell of the heater reminds me of ice fishing with my dad when I was a little guy. Used to go out there with the Coleman heaters. We'd do some ice fishing. I think that will suffice. You know, turn the lights out, as always. Don't get scared. Let's take a look here and see if this is our problem. What is that? Oh no, someone's already been in here. Look at that screw. Look at that screw. Oh boy. Well, let's see what we have to deal with here. Anyone ever see a key like that before? That's interesting. It actually slides down into the crankshaft almost. Let's see what we have. We've got a seal on top. Points are opening and closing. Welcome back, folks. It is a new day. When we left, we were checking out these points. This is the spring here. You can see some white stuff right there. I would have to believe that's corrosion. So why don't we decorrode? Does anyone ever actually take the time to check points before filing them down? I don't actually know what I'm doing. In full disclosure here. So I'm curious if we can just touch either side. Okay, well, perfect continuity. Let's spin the engine over. Break the gap and see if we get the same. We do. So I'm not testing these correctly. We know we have a good continuity somewhere. Is it supposed to be like that? What's this thing mounted to? Is that like cardboard? Huh. Probably asbestos. Just kidding, Mom. Let's do it. I'm going to disconnect the wires here, one going to the coil on the primary side, one going to the condenser. From what I understand, when you're on resistance, the meter itself is sending out a small voltage. That voltage goes through the circuit, comes from one lead to the other, and it measures the amount of resistance. Now on a capacitor, when you attach your leads to the capacitor, you are actually charging the capacitor. See how we went to open loop? Now why is it going back down? I don't know. Once you charge the capacitor, it should hold a small voltage. Now I should be able to put my leads on here and I should see a small voltage. Look at that, there it is. And that voltage is now draining down because we charged the capacitor. So I feel like this capacitor is fairly good. This meter also has a capacitor checker. So if I hit my button here, it'll tell me nanofarads. So I should be able to go from here to here. 0.27, or is that microfarads? 290, 0.3. I don't know what it should be. I do not know. What I do know is we should probably short out that condenser now and get rid of any stored energy that it has inside of it. That should take care of that. Okay, folks, it's been a long and painful journey, but through a ton of research and a lot of time, I think I finally understand what's going on here. Both of these sides do in fact go to ground, and let's explain why. On the inside of your flywheel, there's a magnet. That magnet is going to be represented by this little knife here. As the magnet begins to come around, it starts passing by the primary side of the coil. As that magnet moves by the primary side of the coil, those points close, like so. They are now closed. As that magnet continues by the primary and starts tickling the secondary, that change in magnetic field induces a small AC current. Okay, you get your little sine wave there. That's what my fingers are doing oddly. Okay, that current begins to flow through our primary winding wire, up into here, through the spring, through the rivet, through the points, and goes straight to ground. It's just essentially a straight up short. As the flywheel is continuing on, then those points open back up. Now, what happens is as this current is still moving along, all of a sudden it says, nope, I cannot go through here anymore. So instead, I'm going to go through this red wire tucked underneath here. I'm going to go through this red wire, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start storing my energy into this capacitor. As our magnet continues to move along, what happens now is the primary side says, where'd my magnet go? I'm really sad. It goes into a dark place. The field in this coil collapses. What happens now? All these awesome stored up electrons begin to backflow through the red wire up to here, where the coil and the red wire connect, back through the primary and straight to ground. So now it's exciting again the primary side of the coil. In the meantime, the secondary is like, all this primary excitement is getting me super, super excited. So now we're continuing on. Our magnet passes by the secondary side. The secondary is like, wait, where'd my magnet go? This is not cool. Secondary also collapses. And when that happens, it induces an insane amount of voltage through this little guy here, through this little guy here, and across the gap. Although I may not have everything perfect, that is the general idea of how this system works. And I'm pretty excited that I just learned that. So, let's do what we should have done. Let's grab a file these points, make sure our gap is 20 thousandths, and see if we get spark. That was exhausting. I believe somewhere in this mass, oh, look at that. It's like I had a points file the whole time. So this is the first time in my life that I have ever filed points. Let's see how we're looking now. Oh, there we go. Well, why don't we try it? I think it just takes a little more spring pressure than my wimpy fingers want to give it. Also, we need to set the gap now, which I've also never done. Let's double check here. Breaker point gap, 20 thousandths. 20 thousandths. It's actually sloppy. Probably because I just filed them, smarty. All right, loosened. Boy, that was not easy. Got that broken loose. Let's set our gap now. Feeler's in there. It's straight up and down. Try the 20 thou again. Just barely fits in there. I think that's going to be okay. Now they say not to oil these, because oil will wreck your points, but a little dab of grease is okay. Let's just pull this little guy out of here. There we go. It's supposed to be our little grease pad. You can see it's been well used. So why don't we rotate it the opposite direction. Put just a little bit of grease on there. This is just like an all-purpose type grease. I don't know why it's green. I'm sure someone will tell me it's the wrong stuff, and I'm going to destroy it. Just kidding. Really, though, I appreciate everyone watching. Hopefully this is fun for you. Those of you that are still awake. Should work. All right, finally. You guys want to see if we have spark now? Holy cow. Let's get this wild key back in there. I'll put all the covers and everything back on later. Just want to see if we can get some electrons flowing. You guys ready? I'm freaking out right now. Oh, yeah! Holy bright spark. Yes! Oh man, I'm excited. Time for reassembly. This is not acceptable. That was scary. This moves like crap. I said I wasn't going to lubricate anything, but it needs it. Now, I got to remember which one had the coarse and which one had the fine. Wow, I guessed correctly. I think we need a little grease on this guy. Let's just encapsulate the whole thing in grease. Yeah, it will attract dirt, but hopefully it'll keep it from getting super crispy. Last thing we need is this to turn into one of our diaphragms. For those of you that follow the channel and know what I'm talking about. There we go. Re-entry of the key. Okay. Today we're going to use my buddy Mike's torque spec, good and tight. Anybody else try to make their screws look nice without stripping out the housing? Oh man, OCD's a bit. There she is. That is not looking so great. Not looking so great at all. Oh jeez, look at that. When I push on it. That's probably going to be a problem. Oh jeez, look at that. Yeah, that seal is shot. It's aluminum deck, so it's not exactly extra rust preventative. But, so check this out. It has like an anti-pull-off type ring around it. I don't know what you call that, with the little tabs that stick into the metal. I'm wondering, if we pull that ring off, maybe we can just clean the seal up and get all the crap out of there. I'm sure somebody's out there, no! You're gonna destroy it! Yeah, well, what's the worst that can happen? We put it back together and it leaks oil. You want the close-up view or the far away? Close-up? Okay, sounds good. Ooh, look at that. I'm trying to stab myself. It might be a sign. I just want to see what it looks like. Everyone relax. The odds of me actually pulling the seal out are very slim. So let's do a deep breathing exercise together. Ready? And breathe in. And out. Okay. There it is. Just a washer. Okay. There's our... Whoa. What is that? That is something special. Oh, it's just like a cloth disc. That's it? That's the seal? It's like a piece of cloth that's just there to soak it up. Well, side to side radial play. Is that axial? Axial? Radial. Whatever. Wiggle back and forthy play is really tight, which is nice. So do you think they just figure that's there so that when the engine's not running and it's... What does that say? Part... Let's see. Part 719. This is probably just straight up asbestos. Just kidding, Mom. Alright. we'll see what happens. Enough with the engine. We still have an entire carburetor to take care of. See if we can ruin that. It is that time. Oh, nasty. I'm gonna go clean this off really quick. It's about all the cleaning that I could do without ruining something. For instance, this gasket's trying to come off, which concerns me. But it looks like it's coming off in pretty much one piece. This sticks out the front. So do we want to say that's our idle circuit? It's our idle speed, because it stops our throttle at a certain point. Check that out. Rich on one side, lean on the other side. See the arrow? Rich, counterclockwise, lean, all the way clockwise. Okay, so this was set full rich. Okay, so that's probably idle, like we thought. High speed. We're going to see how many turns we have to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop. 1/2. 3/4. Okay, 3/4 turns out. Wow, that is long. Brass. That spring was pinching this gasket, so there we go. Looks like we can take this screw off and then pull that out. Question is, do we take this off first? Look at that. Holy moly. Jeez, come on, people. I wonder if this leaks like crazy at the bowl, and so they just crank the heck out of it. Whoop. There we have it. Looks like it leaks a little bit. I have a feeling this is going to leak a lot from a lot of different places. Okay, so lean, full lean is... Oh, fully tight. That's fully tightened. Okay. Ooh, look at that baby. Is that rust? Not so much rust, just dirty gas. For one thing, this bowl nut is brass. That's not very helpful. But it'll be helpful for our vice grips to bite into it, if we have any luck on that front. Okay. Come on, meow. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. That's good. All right, buddy. Oh, jeez. Look at that frickin' bolt, you guys. Ooh! That was scary. Oh, wow. Look at that float. Sorry. Wow, it's brass. Or it's not brass float. Oh, there's no seal. Is it built like that? Where the hell's my pick? Let's poke at it and see if we can make it leak. Oh, that is the seal. Okay, so there is a seal in here. And we're not going to touch it. And really, in all reality, does that look that bad? No. Man, that bowl is heavy. You guys should feel this thing. It has some bulk to it. We're going to check the thread out count on that as well for the lean and rich mixture setting. 1. That's it. That's it. Stops right there. Okay, I'm going to take this out. So, thread this all the way in. Is that a gasket right there? I do not want to take that out and lose this little guy. That looks like almost a copper gasket. You know what? This bowl is clean enough. We're not putting it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Good choice, bud. Good choice. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Should we check the bowl? See if it works? The bowl is sealing awesome. I'm sorry. The float is sealing awesome. Ugh. There's the needle. That is cool. What do you think that's made of? Tin? Like literal tin? It's a pretty good sized needle. And it is a metal tipped needle. How's our seat look? Is that a brass seat? Light, please. Boop, boop. That is a brass seat. I do not see a rubber seal in there. That's cool. All right, let's check our main jet. So that's where that needle threads into there for rich and lean. Oh, cool. Does that look like the emulsion tube is separate? Oh no, looks like it's part of the emulsion tube because you've got the little teeny holes in it. Sorry if you all are falling asleep, but never explored territory like this before, and it's pretty dang exciting to me. This carburetor is clean, you guys. It is clean. I almost feel like we could have just put gas in it and started it, but we wouldn't have had spark. But I mean, all these passages are clear. I'm thinking I'm just going to put it back together, in all honesty. Just going to give these a quick wipe, put them back together. Pretty much got part numbers on everything. 01790. No spring on this little guy. What am I doing? Shutoff height looks pretty good. Right about parallel with the housing. Just like so. Now, for the problem child. That gasket is toast. It's a crispy, crispy critter. I don't think it seals. I think that's why it was torqued down so much. Alright, well, that's off of there. It looks horrible. Jeez, look at that. I wonder if I can find a replacement. I can't replace the brass. Maybe I can at least get it back to a somewhat recognizable shape. I'm going to work on this not by the carburetor parts, so I don't get brass shavings everywhere. I'll be back. So from the bottom it looks a little better. I got it down to a fit of 12mm. Top still looks like crap. I also machined this surface with a file because every time this thing was squeezed, it would mushroom down parts of the edge. So that definitely would not contribute to sealing as well. Now, how about we put this horrible looking seal back on upside down. And if it doesn't seal, I have some gasket maker. I'm just trying to avoid that because it generally doesn't work very well for me. Go ahead and get my impact so we can drive it on there really well. I'm joking. I'm joking. Relax. Let's work on our deep breathing again. Oh yeah, that worked nice. You could see me shaking. Alright, don't go any further. I'm just going to wreck it. Okay, cross your fingers on that little guy. I'm going to bring this in just until it gently seats against that port that we saw on the main jet housing. I'm just going to back it out a hair so that we start in a position that will still allow fuel flow. This little guy is going to start in the full lean position, which is 100% to the right. And then we are going to find the screwdriver. Tighten this down, get it set. Lean, rich, I can feel it moving, fantastic. We're going to start right in the middle. I'm going to make sure there's no magic beans inside of here like some Tecumseh carburetors that I'm going to pinch with a freaking needle when I put it in here. 1/2, 3/4. I'm going to call that done for the carburetor. Also known as our hydrocarbon distribution center. What's going on, folks? It is a new day. I got out my little scope here. Let's shed a little light on the situation. Is that... What is that? That can't be the factory... Is that the factory shape of the piston? It is. Wow. Oh, geez, look at the cylinder. It looks like crap. Well, you know what? If I were a 60-year-old machine, I'd probably look like crap, too. I wonder if this design is to help with exchange, gas exchange. That is wild. Wish I had a little more definition. I can't tell if that's rust or if that's leftover PB blaster. I mean, it moves smooth. How cool. Honestly, how cool is that? Alright, you are looking through a poorly made 90-degree mirror. But if you focus on the center of the screen, hopefully we can get some definition of the cylinder wall. Ooh boy. Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest. Definitely no cross-hatching left on there. Can't really see a whole heck of a lot of anything. That looks pretty bad. Well, not giving up yet. One thing I have not done is checked for compression. It's later on in the day, and I realized that we had a brief chat about doing a compression test. So, OTC, Amazon special. Well, it looks like it should work. Big numbers are PSI, little numbers are KPA times 100 for our metric friends. Okay, got the wrist snapper 5000, everything's hooked up. Make us happy, honey. And go. I don't know about you, but I am freaking happy. I can feel it. Today's going to be the day. We're going to hear some sweet two-stroke obnoxious exhaust. Let's get to it. I'm going to take this little guy inside and rinse him off in the sink before my wife gets home. All I did was take it inside, use hot water. The paint started coming off, so I think it's just meant to be left well alone. Brought the air screen in, did my best to clean it with some hot water, but yeah, I don't really know how much it did. I don't really know how much this does. I think we'd get some more squish on the filter itself if we undented the center of this thing. Get the right tool for the wrong job. It's like it's from the factory. I just cleaned that, dang it. So for the engine cover, I tried to take it in and bring back the label a little bit with some hot water and a toothbrush. The gold came out a little bit better. Clinton's gone from here. Tried to clean up the sign on how to mix your gas. It went okay, but unfortunately the paint's just going to be permanently patinaed. I think it's time to mount the engine back. I think it's time. I think it's time to mount the engine back onto the mower deck. Speaking of mower deck, look at that original paint color. How nice. By the way, I swapped that cover around, so it's actually on the proper way now. Got the little copper crush washer back on there. Pre-crushed from the last installation. Almost forgot our throttle linkage. Almost. Gone with the original fuel line because it has this nice permanent shape to it. Got a bit of a breeze going today. It is nice though. It's been sunny and 45-ish. I love how they put lock washers on just about every single bolt. They were like, well, it's a two-stroke and it's a lawnmower. Let's make sure nothing can come off. Not too excited about it, but we gotta put the blade on. And the reason I say that is we will not have enough inertia and momentum to keep this engine running if the blade's not on there. I mentioned my backwoods balancing technique before. Essentially, you take something small and you hang the blade from that small object. Now, if it seems fairly level with the floor, your blade is balanced. If it leans to one side, in this instance I have it leaning to the left, that means it would be heavy on the left side. You'd need to ground some off the left side to make it lighter. If it leans to the right, you know it's heavier on the right side, and you do the same thing. So what I do is I just take like a wire, or in this case a pick, I hang it off the pick, and you can see it's pretty darn level. When we first took that blade off, it was like this. Talk about sketchy. One thing I thought was kind of cool, you can see that washer that's on here. You see the little teeth? So that washer locks into those teeth. It's like a preventative way to keep everything indexed in the proper orientation. Now, how you line all that up, that's a different story. I think I got it. Here's something that's a little bummer. Man, oh man, this deck has had a rough life. Ouch. This engine wants a half pint of SAE 30 oil with each gallon of gasoline. Half pint. So this makes 1 gallon, it's 2.6 ounces. 2.6 ounces. 2 pints. .6 ounces is 0.16 pints. And this thing wants a half pint of oil per gallon? Good Lord! It'd require almost 4 of those little containers. Oh, jeez. This is 50 to 1. There. Valvoline 30 weight. She likes the Earl. We'll give her the Earl. That is a lot. Times have changed on 2 strokes, haven't they? Gonna open the fuel. Wait for it to start leaking. Yep, it's leaking from the petcock. So what do we have here? We're set to midway on our high speed. We got our low speed preset. Choke is hiding down here. I have no idea if that's open or closed. Dang it. Open. Choke. Okay. So up is go. I got rid of the Crocs, put on some better foot protection. Got some Mower deck belt shields. We're going for all the protection today. That petcock is definitely leaking, but we're just going to let it go because I refuse to work on a fuel shutoff valve again. Partway for the throttle. Choke. On. I'm not freaking out. You're freaking out. That got me nothing. That was a good spin. Oh, it made noise. All right, partial choke. Don't get mad at me. Nothing. More fuel. Less fuel. Oh, we're so close. Yes, I know it's a two-stroke. Trust me, it's well lubricated. Tried to take my fingers off. That was good. So essentially, the idle speed was cranked way up to compensate for something, and that's why I wouldn't go to idle. Dar, 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 dar. Oh, what a sweetheart. And my ears are ringing. All right, folks. Well, we have an official runner. Runs like a two-stroke, runs like an old two-stroke. Leaks gas from the top of the tank, leaks gas from the bottom of the tank. But it runs. This is fantastic. This video is getting pretty dang long, so I think I'm going to call it here. I have a feeling most people are not going to be interested in me putting the rest of it back together, sharpening the blade, blah, blah, blah. However, if you have some interest, let me know. Put it down in the comments. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. This springtime, we may do a power wash and a will it mow. What an adventure. Seriously, what an adventure. Anyway, if in the future you find yourself super bored and super desperate to watch something on YouTube, well, swing on by. We're going to have more adventures. One of which is probably going to be the mower that's supposed to be attached to those belt guards. Stay tuned, folks. Thanks for joining. Catch you next time.